the dang music. Just cut it. Just cut the music. What's up, everybody? Hope you're doing great. Happy Saturday. Don't know what you guys were up to this weekend, but so far I've had a relatively chill weekend. Just spending time with my lady, trying to enjoy the transition into fall as much as one can enjoy that. Hope you guys are great. All right, let's talk about a couple things as we filter some folks in here. Number one, we're ending. I can't even fucking think. We're approaching the tail end of 50% coaching. Right? I booked a lot of folks. I can't do it forever. There's gonna be a point at which I just can't take any more folks. So those of you thinking about jumping on board, this is pretty much it. I estimate probably about another 2 weeks or so, maybe less. It'll be up, and then I'm just gonna have to pull it down. So the code is Coach Discount. It is in the description of this video. And if you're thinking of booking, if you've been kind of last minute thinking about it and sort of waiting and hanging tight, don't sit on your hands. You got libido and erection issues on HRT or from hair loss drugs, etc. Let's get it solved. This is going away soon. All right. Let's talk about hybrid protocols. I mean, this is a topic that I'm pretty hot on that I think is important for folks to understand, especially the people that are having trouble with dialing in specifically libido and erections. It is sometimes the case that, and specifically with prop and a long ester, that you get what you need DHT-wise from cream and a long ester. You get what you need DHT-wise from the cream. But you have an infusion like once a week or so of a relatively low dose of a long stable ester, like testosterone cypionate, at like between 30 to 50 milligrams. And as long as you are in your estrogen range with the cream, you'll call it 2 pumps a day of the high concentration stuff or 5 pumps a day of the lower concentration stuff with some HCG, enough to put you in range and get you, good sexual function, whatever. You then boost everything for a 3.5 day period, and you've got hypersexuality for 3.5 days. After which it just goes back to normal. Well, it's still good for penetrative sex. You're horny. It's just baseline. It's just normal. But you can induce these stages of hypersexuality and insane erections that are all night long and that hurt. If you care to do that, and I think it's a really good experience, and it's a good thing to have that healthy baseline or healthy state of sexual function. And you do that by having the E2 in the right place and then just surging a little test on top. I've talked about this many times before, and the best way to do it is with cream as a baseline, and then once a week you surge a little bit of cypionate in there. Now, assuming that your cream baseline with HCG gets you in range kind of on the lower end of estradiol, then you have room to work with. There's all these strategies, man, that can help people dial in and get like benefits upon benefits. Like you're already in a good place at that point with cream and HCG and E2 kind of in the lower end of the range. And then you just boost everything. More DHT, a little more estradiol. You have room for it. You get hypersexual function. I've seen this repeated over and over again. It's just one of those things that I've come to learn as a ultra pattern recognizer and doing this for so many years that actually works. Talk about all-night steel rods. Again, you guys don't want to settle. I feel like I'm a little off here. And I don't want you to settle. I don't want you to have to settle for a TRT protocol where you're not getting erections, 5 to 7 nights a week that are all night, on and off throughout the night, where that you're supplying oxygen and blood flow to the penis to keep it healthy. That's what nocturnals do. That's the purpose of nocturnal erections, and folks really need to keep that in mind. Take heed to the advice to always work toward that. If you're not there in a protocol, your protocol can be better, right? We're not about having mediocre TRT protocols. We don't want mediocre TRT protocols. We want them to be fucking killer. That's what I do in coaching. That's what I do for myself. But I'm having a good life on TRT. God, I just know what to do and when. Dialed in as hell. Peak sexual performance. Peak sensation. Peak climax. I know that's a little TMI. Just want to keep you guys engaged, having goals for this, having goals. All right, let's get to questions. Looking good in red. Thanks, brother. I don't often wear red, but I'm wearing it now. Last time I wore this, I think I was in Florida. Jay Brody. Have you ever dealt with a copper deficiency with you or your clients from too much zinc? Thought I had PFS, PSSD, but it was copper all along. Well, how do you know? Yeah, this is a thing that, if you read a lot, what I would confidently assert happened is you had some side effects from dosing zinc, which were probably related to low estradiol because it crushes it. And then you read on the web that, zinc and copper work in this sort of seesaw type manner, and too much zinc reduces copper. There wouldn't be such a thing as zinc supplements if they were causing copper deficiency. Now, if you ran your bloods, okay, cool, prove me wrong. But I don't think you had some sort of, copper problem. And no, I have not dealt with that. I don't see that. I think it's extremely hard to induce unless you are mega dosing 300, 500 milligrams of zinc for a month straight. I think your issue is related to something else. Because talk about PFS, PSSD. Zinc crushes estradiol and at a certain point can inhibit 5-alpha reductase enzymes. So you probably blocked some DHT for a little there, and you definitely tanked your estrogen for a little bit. That is almost definitely more logically what happened there. How to get test cream that you always talk about in India. You'd have to get a clinic, man. Yeah, if you're in India and you can't find test cream, it is almost impossible to find testosterone cream on the UGLs, which sucks. So wherever you are, I mean, you got to find a clinic that prescribes it. Otherwise, just keep hunting for UGLs. I mean, I come across new UGLs that I still have to vet and stuff, but that other people have used like all the time. I just recently came across one that has DHT in a cream form. I've got to vet it, but I'm thinking about adding it to source list. After I vet it, talk to enough people who have used it and make sure it's a valid option. But, if you can't do that, like get it otherwise, UGL, which is hard with cream, because it's a compounded kind of thing, then you just have to find a TRT clinic that will prescribe that to you. That's just the bottom line. That's just it. I know that sucks because cream is one of the most useful modalities of TRT to have access to. Yeah, I mean, some folks are not going to be able to dial in completely without the right amount of DHT, and DHT is just that's what cream is about. Giving you the right amount of DHT to balance things out. It's such a fucking awesome way to apply testosterone. I'm back on cream now. When I went to Florida, I'm like just not bringing in Cypionate. Didn't want to make it complicated. I just brought the cream, and now I'm on it and staying on it. And I fucking love it. I love the cream. The energy boost is even better than Cypionate. I was dialed in on Cypionate, but cream though, something else. Keep hunting, my friend. Keep hunting. Keep the dream alive. You have the limitation of being in India, and there's not a whole lot I can do about that or anyone can say about that, but keep hunting. Spanda, do you have any experience or knowledge on isocaproate? No. And what are your thoughts on HGH, AM versus PM? I have no thoughts on either. Yeah, I'm not into growth hormone. Probably not something I'll do. The extent of my own personal experimentation is with ipamorelin, which was interesting. Not anything to write home about. My lady had dosed some sermorelin for about 2 months. She noticed some energy increases. But if she missed a dose, she'd get these blood sugar crashes that were bad. So ultimately, she cycled off of it. But that's the extent of my knowledge around that. As far as isocaproate, yeah, I don't know a whole lot about it. I mean, I know about it, but I don't have enough experience to talk about it. Heavyweight, looking like a masculine version of JD Vance. What's up? About to spend $1,000 at the Mustang Ranch. I don't always agree with your perspective on enanthate sip compared to cream, but I still love you, bro. Love you as well. Yeah, I suppose it all depends, man. I mean, some people are outliers in that, regarding enanthate or cypionate, they don't even have to be selective about what they dose, and things just end up working out fine. I just think that what I've seen over the years is that people don't metabolize that stuff in an ideal way. Like most folks, most folks have a problem with it. The majority of people I get that have problems are coming from cypionate specifically. So that's just true. I mean, I'm not seeing a pattern that doesn't exist there. And I understand why, long aromatization curve, long time under the curve, the AUC, the area under the curve. If you think about these things relative to 7-8 day half-life esters, you're under that curve for a long time. And you only get the DHT peak day 2 or so, after which it starts going downward. But you get an aromatization effect throughout. So in terms of ratio, this is where cream comes in and like rescues people. Prop comes in and rescues people from running long esters. But, it's all about making it work. I bet I could dial you in on cream. Yeah. And infuse a little bit of cypionate in there too and give you the best sexual function of your life. I know that exists. TV88, test E high dose plus test cream plus DHT microdose aromacin plus DHT microdose pregnant got here. Interesting. So, I mean, you just probably have everything in the right ranges here. So test E, what are you running? 250, 300? Running test cream, you're running, and what concentration and how many pumps? And is it transcrotal DHT? Is it transdermal DHT, injectable DHT? What's the dose? Microdosing aromacin. I get what you're doing here. You're generally just putting together, you're saying, hey, this protocol works, but it would be interesting for folks to know the doses on this stuff. You want to break it down. But I mean, it looks like it could work because you're controlling estrogen, hopefully with DHT and that little bit of aromacin. DHEA is a must-have compound. I wouldn't go a single day in my life without DHEA. And, you just happen to be responding to, what you're doing there well. I prefer non-complex protocols generally, but hey, if it's working for you, it's working for you, man. Skynet is real. Just love that name. Problem TRT HCG for people who bodybuild. Weight gains can mess E2 and fuck up libido and erections. Off-season gain 20 kilograms, messes with my protocol on E2. How to avoid this without big changes in the protocol. I mean, you mean steroids cycle level protocols? Is that what you mean? Is that what you're referring to here? Because, I mean, no matter what, you're running high-dose androgens. Unless you're that exceptionally rare few that can tolerate that and erections and stuff stay fine. There's like one out of maybe 49, 50 people who goes on cycle and they're like, dude, I'm like fucking rock hard all the time and shit's crazy. And the erection's sitting at 80, 85. It's not most people. So, I mean, you might just be, that's what's happening to you here. I mean, when I went on cycle, I had to take aromacin. Was it 12.5 once a week on 560? And then on sports TRT, it was 6.25 once every 6 days or some shit like that. I forget exactly what I was dosing, but I had to control estrogen. I keep it around 30, 35. That's what worked for me on cycle. So it wasn't the best sexual function, but it was passable. It worked. Things worked. Not nearly as good as, down to TRT on like a perfectly surgically dialed in protocol for me now. It's just one of those things, man. But you're going to have to find the estrogen control approach that works. And that does take a lot of experimentation, unfortunately, if you don't know it as is. It's going to take a little changing shit around. And, if you're on a long ester, everything takes time. It's like it might take you the entire duration of your cycle when you run cycles to fucking dial in libido and erections, but at least next time you know what to do if you go on cycle. Like, I know what I'm going to do next cycle, and I'm not really keen to do it. Don't need to go on a cycle at the moment. Pretty happy with my physique. Put on some mass from the last one. Feel pretty good. But if I do, it's just going to be 560 of enanthate, 160 milligrams injected every other day, right in the glute, the 1.5 inch needle, and 12.5 milligrams of aromacin once every 7 days. I'm pretty sure that's what that was. 300 IU HCG a day. 20 milligrams DHA in the morning. That's just it. Heavyweight. Pretty respectful response, man. I appreciate if I left a comment on a different video, I'll remove. I appreciate it. Left a comment on a different video. Hey, up to you, brother. I mean, if you've got counters to anything I say, you don't need to remove it. We're all about free speech here. Might not agree with you, but it is what it is. Happy friend, 5-Hour Society is changing the game with DHT prop. DHT, I think it's superior AI control with androgen. I can't wait for you to review these injectables. I haven't gotten my hands on DHT prop, although I did recently find a source for it. DHT transcrotal and some sublingual drops. Wait, I lost the chat. Dang. Heavyweight says 500 milligrams a week. Sex drive is insane. 800 for strength with 500 is the sweet spot. No blood pressure problems. I run it. This keeps changing. Oh, here we go. I run it how I run it now as an experiment. Yeah, just be careful. You're one of those rare few, dude. That is for fucking sure. I mean, on cycle without controlling estrogen, my libido was high, but I just had ED. I had ED. And it's always going to get that point if estrogen stays high. Maybe you have slow saturation of the tissues. Maybe you're clearing it from the tissues. There's a difference between the bloods and the tissues. Okay. How do you microdose aromasin? Well, I mean, you take a 12.5 milligram tablet and you get a pill cutter and you cut it several times into, very, very small doses, or you could crush it and dissolve it in distilled water or vodka or tequila in a dropper vial and get ultra microdoses per drop. I mean, it's the same concept as Liquidex, which is the same thing with Arimidex, and that does work for people. Yeah, it does work for folks. I've ever tried DIM. 600 DIM was very effective for estrogen balance. Well, yeah, so you are to an extent controlling estrogen. No, I mean, yes, I've taken it, but it's just, that's not. I prefer more aggressive compounds if I need to control estrogen that I know its primary mechanism of action is blocking estrogen, like aromasin. Yazir, tried different protocols from UND. Undecanoate and NFA2 prop, best so far. Credits to you. But started having knuckle pain only after starting EAT. Any possible correlation? It's a hard one. I mean, are you taking an AI? That is the kind of thing that will cause joint pain, knuckle pain, etc. Alex Kickle said most men function best at 60 estrogen for libido. Is it because his clients are bodybuilders? I think that probably has a good degree of influence there. I mean, this is one thing that I've noticed. And I love Alex. He's local to me. I know him and his wife. They're good people, and he's a smart fucking dude. But the one thing I have seen about bodybuilders is either because they've taken a lot of aromatase inhibitors over the years, or because their body just over years and years and years and years of hammering high doses of androgens, their body sort of adjusts to different levels of estradiol. This is not something I would suggest people do on TRT. I mean, you have to go on 700, 800, 1,000 milligrams of test, many, many different cycles over years to achieve this, even if that's possible. This is just a theory on how they get away with it. But at the same time, I think that you load yourself with aromasin, as an example, probably the case with Arimidex too. Over years, you're probably going to damage either the gene that encodes aromatase enzymes or aromatase enzymes themselves, to the point where you just don't make enough estrogen. Now, I know people that don't make enough estrogen. What's the guy's name? The founder of Excel Male, the forum. Forget his name. Smart dude. That dude doesn't make enough estrogen. Don't really know if he was a bodybuilder in the past. You'll see Vigorous Steve and those guys be able to tolerate 45. You're not Vigorous Steve, and you're not a real serious bodybuilder. They end up being different through changes over time. It's not something you should do on TRT. It might take you years to get there. Not a good idea. But at the same time, I mean, I guess people do have different subset of clients. None of my clients tolerate 60 estradiol. None of them. None. Dylan, thoughts on why I switched from SIP to E at 18 milligrams a day and was okay, then added 200 milligrams Tonga, and I've been dialing, completely changed my protocol. Maybe it freed up some free tests, modulated DHT, modulated estradiol. I have to look into it. TV88 aromasin, I got to like 3 milligrams, cut it up tablets, the tiniest bit. Yeah, I mean, you could just get a pill cutter for the AIs and cut them down. If you end up being one of those people that can tolerate aromatase inhibitors, it's a great way to control the dose, and to dial in estrogen where you need it. Orange juice break. Does HCG increase SHBG? I have no information on that. I'm not sure that it does. It would surprise me if it did. Yeah, I think that would be kind of negligible. Any benefits of injectable DHEA anethate over oral DHEA? More bioavailability. I think you'd have a quicker saturation point. You'd be quicker to peak. It's entirely possible to get more utilization of DHEA at tissues, but nobody knows. Nobody knows. My thoughts on sublingual DHT, I've tried it, are that it is in and out very quickly. So if you're trying to achieve stability with it, it's not a good idea. Like you're trying to add it to the protocol to dial in a little further, it's not a good idea. But if you want to, temporarily increase sexual function or just modulate it in some positive way, then, like a pulse doses of very fast absorbing DHT, which would be, if you dose it sublingually, would make sense there. Yeah, that would make sense. How do you know when to increase the HCG dose on cream, by the way? Well, number one, I mean, you can increase HCG dose when estrogen's at 20. That's what I would say. Yeah, you need to look. Anytime you think about modulating an HCG dose, estrogen has to be in the conversation. Because not only do you make more estrogen from the test and the testicles being produced, but it stimulates the Leydig cells independently of the test it's producing to make estrogen. So, it's an estrogenic compound. So estrogen has to be in the conversation. Now, if you got your protocol situated at a lower dose of test and 200 IU of HCG and you're at 20 estradiol, which is very achievable, and you'd like a little more intratesticular DHT, you bump up the estrogen a little bit, you get a little more tests, and that pushes you into the sweet spot, well, then you dose 250 or 300 IU of HCG. I dose 330 fucking IU of HCG a day. And as long as I'm not on a high dose of an aromatizable androgen, it does not make me over aromatize. HCG can be your best fucking friend and work you up into the zone, or it can take you way out of the zone by pushing you too far if your injectable is too high, or if your whatever ester is dosed in a way which estrogen is already fucking over range. And HCG is not your friend. People try to rescue sensation and all this stuff, libido, like just willy-nilly bring an HCG in. The problem is your fucking protocol's wrong. It's bad. E2's too far up there for you to even bring in HCG. Then you fuck it up worse and go, oh, HCG didn't work. Wrong. It's not that HCG didn't work. HCG does work in context. In the context of already low estradiol, where you're bringing it in to keep the testicles functional, and it pushes everything right into the right ranges. That's how you surgically use HCG. You don't willy-nilly. This is the thing you guys got to remember, and everybody has to remember. You can't listen to people, whether YouTube or Reddit, forums or otherwise, that say, hey, this compound is great. Oh, Proviron is great. Oh, Masteron's great. In what context, man? Meaning you got to apply a lot of nuance to this shit. Lots of it. So, for me, when I know on cream to increase HCG, it's number one when estrogen's at 20. I could get it up there to 25, 30, and that'd be like perfect. And number two, when my erections are good and hard, but like the organ's a little dry, if that makes sense. It's too dry. DHT, dry compound, purely dry androgenic. It actually has effects at the tissue level and it makes it a little dry. And my libido dips a little bit when there's too much DHT and not enough HCG. So, I hope that helps. Yazir, currently taking 15 a prop. Good dose, right? Because there you could at least go run estrogen at week 3. See where it is at trough, and then see where it is if you inject in the morning at about 6 p.m., right when Quest or LabCorp closes, so you can kind of get an idea of kind of where it's going. Look at those two numbers and be like, all right, this is where estrogen generally goes. And then make an adjustment for there. If you're under, you can move up. If you're over, you can move down. I've seen people at, is it 10 milligrams a day? It was either 10 or 15 go above 2,500 total test with 10 to 15 milligrams of prop. It's not common, but it does happen. Samuel, 20 milligrams a day. 20 milligrams a day. Again, talk about bad advice, man. I get a lot of folks that come through for coaching and they're on 50 to 100 milligrams of DHEA a day. For what? What's the purpose of that? Yeah, you start pushing aromatization at that point. You definitely don't need that much DHEA to have serum, so DHEA sulfate levels in reasonable place. You're not getting any additional benefit from having more. It's usually just too much. Through God, I forget the mechanism. There's actually a mechanism by which DHEA, unrelated to DHT, causes fucking hair loss. You don't want to overdose it. 20 milligrams a day. Still a fan of modafinil, or do you not bother after focusing on more androgens? I haven't taken modafinil in a long, long time. I just don't need it. Just don't need it. Yeah. I mean, I used to need it. Or I used to like it. Didn't really need it. I could dose many other nootropics. And I'm really not into nootropics at the level that I was. Because one of the major things that sort of started to dissuade me from continuing to discuss nootropics is that virtually everybody that came through had hormone problems and otherwise, just health problems or problems with their bodies. Their bodies weren't in the right place, but they were covering it up with nootropics. How can I dose some aniracetam to function? Well, why the fuck aren't you functioning to begin with? So it just sort of made me, after years and years of seeing that, and then it really just came to a pinnacle, and I'm like, a lot of these folks are wanting to use it recreationally. It's not that you got to use it surgically, and they've got to fix a whole bunch of other shit that they're thinking nootropics will help. Because people forget it's not just about the brain relative to all this. It's the fucking brain, the endocrine system, the HPA axis, the gut. Everything is, thyroid hormones. You can't just focus on one thing. Do you split the HCG dose? No. I'm running 330 right in the morning with cream and DHEA, B complex, some other things. Skynet is real. For libido, what would be better, DHEA, pregnenolone supplement? Neither. You don't target libido with a supplement. Nope. Also, current blood level on TRT, HCG, DHEA, blah, blah, blah. I'm not sure what this is saying. Yeah, you got to be clear. Is that the reference range? I'm not really sure. As I said in the beginning, boys, we are on the tail end of this right here. 50% coaching. The discount code is Coach Discount. It is in the description of this video. We're at the end. This is going away. So for those of you thinking about booking, now is absolutely the time. You're going to miss it if you don't book. If you miss it, you're either not going to get coaching and not fixing libido and erection issues, or you're paying full price for everything. And those prices go up 50% of where they are when you use that coupon code. It's in the description of this video. So book livecortex.com. I'll make an official announcement when I am at 2 clients left, when I just cannot tolerate anymore. When I can't physically, mentally, otherwise handle an additional 2 clients, I'll make another announcement to let folks know. But that time is coming. That time is coming. Mitch. What's up, Mitch? How you doing, brother? Ryan, for daily injections, do you think it's smarter to run a compound like Test P over Test D? I think both can work. Both can work. You get a lot of folks who just don't metabolize test the right way. I think that's one of the major problems generally with long esters. They're not metabolizing it the right way. It's supposed to just go in slowly, get your peak. You stay pretty stable. Sexual function's good. You have no acne or whatever. But in reality, people are injecting once a week, twice a week even. Backs are filled with acne. It's in and out. They're going through all these weird fluctuations. Fucking catecholaminergic neurotransmitters are shifting back and forth. They develop anxiety. So some people just kind of have to run a lot more frequently to control that. Same thing with hematocrits. Switch to a shorter acting ester or modality, then hematocrit problems usually go away. But Test P is definitely more geared toward daily use. That's for sure. That is for sure. TV88 just started 20% DHT. Feels so good. You know how TRT keeps getting better? Does DHT do the same? To a point, yeah. I mean, if it starts causing hair loss, well, then it's not better. If it starts messing with your sexual function, which it can, because too much DHT relative to E2 is also a problem. You got to balance. But, with E2, 20 to 30 DHT high or super physiologic. Functional testicles, enough DHEA, that's where people are going to find the sweet spot. But, there's micro adjustments from there that you need to take to get further dialed in usually. That's what I do. I mean, I'm taking people that think they've tried everything. Like with coaching, people come to me like, dude, I've tried sipping. I tried 90 milligrams a week daily. I've tried 120 milligrams a week, split twice a week. I tried 200 milligrams with 0.5 of anastrozole. I've tried 200 milligrams with 100 milligrams Masteron. Tried 150 with 50 milligrams Primobolan. And I'm like, within a month and a half, we get the estrogen at 28, DHT at 75, testicles super functional, and they're waking up with rods all the time. It's just about dialing in. Everything has to be in balance. So too much DHT is going to cause a problem. I'm glad you're in a great place at the moment. Snapshot the bloods is what I would do if I were you. Yeah, snapshot the bloods always. Whenever you're in a good place, go to discounted labs or wherever you can get bloods. Buy your total test, your estradiol sensitive, maybe DHT. Yeah, DHT. Go to Quest, go to LabCorp, draw those fucking bloods. Pay the money. It is worth it. Yeah, I just had a client do that, and a guy, same situation, hasn't dialed in on anything. Sexual function was shit. It's like a month and a half, and he's like, dude, libido and erections, everything's back. I'm like, go get bloods. Get them. Then we know exactly where to take you should you run an experiment and go off, fall off a cliff. Something bad happens, Shit changes. Now we know, first of all, the protocol to get you back, but where your numbers need to be. When they're dialed in, that is some of the most important information you could have. Skynet is real. Oh, he's talking to the bodybuilder guy. Do I think SHBG is important? Yeah, every now and then it's important to look at is what I would suggest. I know. If it's sitting at 9, not a problem. Not a problem. If it's sitting at 60, yeah. You more want to worry about very high SHBG than you really want to worry about low SHBG. Yazir was not prescribed HCG while starting TRT. Yeah, India sucks. And now have testicular atrophy. Is 500 IU every day enough to get the size back? Well, it is, but if I were you, I would start with 125 IU a day. Work your way up if you can in accordance with estradiol labs, keeping that in range. Some people, this is another thing that I'll say, that it's only been the last year that I've been kind of seeing this and experimenting with it. Some people need more. Some folks on TRT need like kind of pushing HCG monotherapy doses of HCG. I can't really explain what, I can't really explain why, except for that they just need that system to be great, and then they're kind of, lower dosing test, and that just works out for them. Some people really need the testicles to be super functional. Most need HCG, but some people really do better with kind of a lower dose of test and a higher dose of HCG. So I'd start at 125 IU and move your way up, looking at estrogen, doing your best to keep estrogen in range. If you have to lower the test dose in order to do that, maybe you're one of those guys that you need 250, 300 IU HCG a day and like 100 milligrams of test, or so, or a lower end dose of cream, and then you're fucking dialed in. For you, it's, I think, because you're in India, it would be test cypionate or enthate. I have low SHBG. Will DHT make it worse? A little bit. Yeah, it'll make it a little bit lower. It's probably going to lower it just a little bit. I wouldn't really worry about it all that much. Do monitor, though. But it should lower it a little bit. Just a little bit. I'm going to keep hammering this home, boys. Once I get to the point where there are 2 slots open, I'm going to have to do an official announcement on the channel. It's kind of what yesterday's video was. I'm getting close. This has got to end. When it ends, everything goes back to full price. The coupon code to book for coaching is in the description of this video. We get on board, we start, we get on the fact-finding call this week. And then fucking Geronimo, you're in my hands, man. You get to relax. I think the most valuable part of when I pay a consultant or I pay, a marketer or I pay people to do certain things is I don't know how to do it. I'm not the greatest with numbers. So regarding taxes and just the books in general, I do not, I pay people to do that. Marketing over the years with another company that I started in 2024. I pay companies to do that because I'm not an expert in that, When it comes to coaching, sit back, relax, live your life. Let me handle the libido and erection part of your protocol. We'll get it done. Mike, do you recommend splitting DHEA? Also, what levels, mid-range? And no, I don't recommend splitting it. Just 20 in the morning. Higher the SHBG, the more E you can tolerate. Thoughts? I don't think so. I just don't think so. I mean, I see how that could potentially be somewhat valid, but case in point, I've got a guy that has been struggling. I'm not sure if it's because he went on keto or what it was. We're trying to investigate, but the guy has super high SHBG for a long time, and he cannot tolerate high estrogen. So, man, I'm not seeing that in reality. Appreciate you, Easy. Appreciate you, brother. What are you guys doing this weekend? Anything cool? I stuffed my face 2 nights ago at Caliente. It's a pizza place. The best pizza. They had won many awards for best pizza in America, like 4 or 5 years in a row, as recent as 2024 or something. It is incredible pizza. I don't know if it's the best in the world, but best in the States. Caliente. Really, really good pizza. So me and my girl get a 14-inch pie. about this big, pepperoni, nothing else, a beer each, and we go to town, split it. We eat a half a pizza each. It's fucking phenomenal. Fucking phenomenal. A little bit of reflux that night. Rough morning the next morning because Caliente has this hot sauce. It's red chili pepper and another pepper and like an oil base, and it is fucking hot. Little trouble the next morning, you know. Little suffering, but it's worth it in the moment. When you're sitting there gorging on the best tasting pizza and you're having a beer, oh, life doesn't get much better than that. And you're with someone you love. Levi, hey Ron, should I stick with 20 milligrams every day of prop? It's been 5 days, but I have E2 sides. Well, you don't do anything now. Yeah, don't be one of those people that changes based on feels. You go to fucking discounted labs, or you go to your doctor and you go to Quest, or you go to Labtory and you fucking run estradiol sensitive and see where the fuck it's going. You know, you don't shoot in the dark. You'll never dial in that way unless you're an expert at this. I don't have to look at bloods much anymore because I just know where my body is, but I don't think you're like that. You can't shoot in the dark, dude. Should just stick with it? I don't know. What does the data tell you, brother? What does the data tell you should do? You might have symptoms, etc. You know, if you just switch to prop, you're peaking in estrogen like faster than usual. So your body might just be freaking out about that. Wait 3 weeks. Run estradiol in between. Trough and peak, close to peak as you can, 6, 7 p.m. if you inject in the morning, whenever Quest and stuff closes. You need to look at data here, man. JL Montaigne, do you have any intentions of running test P phenylpropane in the future? I don't intend to do it because I am so comfortably dialed in at the moment that it doesn't really make sense, and it's not appealing to me to do that. It is a pretty fucking awesome ester, and I do have people running it. I got people running cycles at TPP, and I don't really know that makes sense, but they are. And so probably not any time in the near future. I mean, next time I go on cycle, which I don't really know when that's going to be. Again, I'm not really itching to do that. Might consider running it. I mean, I don't know. But for now, no. Jim Maxim, day 2 of DHEA and lost my cool when someone was being rude at the door. Is this normal? I was pissed for no reason. Well, if they were being assholes, then maybe that's why. Maybe that's why. And you were pissed. But yeah, I mean, certainly if you're not used to a little bit more DHT, just a little more of that androgenic tone, then it can certainly, do that. I know when I dose a lot of DHT itself, that I get a shorter fuse for sure. Yeah. I mean, DHT, it just kind of makes you like a super efficient man. You're like, man, you're taking too long at the store, walking in front of me. Get the fuck out of the way. The fuck out of here. You don't know what you want? Now I'm being funny. You're in the aisle for 7 minutes. Oh, should I? Oh. Use your brain. Matt Justice, thank you, brother, with the super chat. What a super chat, man. Jeez. $100, bro. Thank you, man. You don't need to give that much, but I surely appreciate it, man. Anything I can do for you, let's do it. Okay, Matt, 20 milligrams test E per week, split into 2 injections a week. 200 milligrams, okay. So 100 every 3.5 days. Estradiol 48, that's about right. Doc's saying let it hang indefinitely. Other patients are 80 plus. Who, Doc? Actually, don't say his name. I don't want to get in trouble, but that's bad advice. No AI. Suggested increasing the dose next refill. Who? Him? No, that's not going to improve it. No, what you need to do you have symptoms? Where are libido and erections? And are you on HCG? I don't imagine you are with that dose there and where estrogen is. I could guess that you're not on HCG. I would guess that you're not on HCG at this point. You have a couple options. First of all, do you need HCG? Because that does influence what to do here. Have you been able to dial in on any tests without HCG and have things be fine? If so, well, maybe you don't need it. Consider that. But if say you don't need it, your best option, because you only need to drop that 18 points. That's it. Get that down to 30, problem solved. Your best option right here would be to take that 100 that you inject every 3.5 days and take to about 60. You might overshoot and ultimately get a little lower on estradiol. Maybe it ends up at 20, but that's fine. Then you can move up a little bit, 65 every 3.5 days. That would be my suggestion. This is what I think about doctors that do this. I think the same phenomenon that happens in these social experiments, stay with me, where you get 15 people in a room and then you have the 16th person kind of on the side, looking at a screen of colors. And on the screen is the color green. But 15 of these other people say it's blue. And that 16th person, just because all these 15 say it's blue, even though their own eyes tell them it's green, go, blue. Yeah. It's like social proof gone wrong. That's what happens to these docs. Listen, doctors are completely capable of believing in fallacy. Looking at some piece of literature which is just poorly constructed or doesn't at all show the whole picture. Taking the nonsense that comes out of the mouths of these people that, are pro-estrogen and talk about all the benefits, but never will even entertain the notion of examining literature that show us otherwise. It's also a new trendy thing, like keto, carnivore, like Atkins when it started trendy. Oh yeah, maybe this is the cure. Oh, maybe this is it. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. The same shit always applies. Estrogen is a fucking female hormone, period. All right? They make loads of it. They don't do well without it. They start getting fucking problems. It drives their femininity. It's what you use, in addition to starving people of DHT, when you convert males to females. Get the fuck out of here. I mean, no one's convincing me. I've just seen it all. Estrogen needs to be in a tight range. It's usually 20 to 35. Some people can tolerate 45 or so. But if you're having symptoms or problems here, it's too high. I wouldn't be able to deal with it that high at all. No, I'd have to use Cialis for sex. My libido would be fine. But out of 20 straight days, I'd get 0.0 nocturnal erections with estrogen that high, and then the dick eventually atrophies. It's not a good idea. So those are my suggestions. Go down to 120 a week, split that to 60-60. Give that 6 straight weeks. Give it 6 weeks. I know that sucks, Matt, but it's going to take time ultimately for estradiol to get where it needs to go. These dynamics were really slow. I mean, you could, as I've said in the past, take a whole week off and don't inject anything, and that will rapidly decrease the time that you've got to wait for estrogen to be in range, and then you jump back on the 120 dose, 60 every 3.5 days, and then kind of see where you fall. But you've got to get estrogen down. Thank you for the super chat, bro. If you need anything else, please ask. Fro, 1967. Are there sources shipped DHT? Can't talk about sources here. I gave it pizza. Shit won't digest like it used to. Well, that's your system, brother. I mean, that sucks, but that's your system, man. Yeah, it's the social experiment, dude. Yeah, the doctors, of course. They don't know. These guys are better off treating people that have colds. Here, take a fucking Z-Pack, bro. That's about the extent of their, usefulness. Easy. Thank you for the super chat, brother. Matcha for you and your girl. Check out Mikusu Matcha on Butler Street. Wow, are you a Pittsburgh person, man? Butler is like Lawrenceville Strip District area, I want to say. Are you a P-Burger? A Yinzer? I never got on board with the Yinzer accent. I'm not going to. My chick, she's been here for 20 years. She does not talk like a Yinzer. And I love that about her. I love that she doesn't talk like a Yinzer. But, other people do. Oh, God, the Yinzer. Oh, just a weird accent, man. Rishab, thank you for the super chat, though, Easy. I really appreciate that, man. Matcha's all around. Next matcha on me. It's like Easy at the bar with a beard. Sup? Total test 800, estradiol non-sensitive 36. DHT 49, prolactin C, so ED as a natty. Prolactin 6. I wouldn't know what's causing that, man. I would say get estradiol sensitive though, because if it's a little over range, I would say this. That's probably a little too high estrogen for DHT, the DHT that you have. Yeah. That would be the first culprit right there. Otherwise, though, did you take a hair loss drug? Did you take an SSRI? Samuel Turner, doesn't Cialis make you numb down there? No. Nope, not one bit. Not one bit. Not one bit. Now, there is something to say for PDE5 inhibitors. I think they interact with pituitary lactotropes, so they could be secreting small amounts of prolactin, but that's usually not problematic. You pump out 10 to 15 nanograms per milliliter after you climax of prolactin anyway. It's what shuts your dick down. I'm to the point now, and I don't even have like uber low prolactin, where after sex, like when I'm in the absolute peak, after sex, 20 minutes later, I'm ready and wanting to. It's kind of getting ridiculous. Where after climaxing, I don't really lose my erection. I can maintain it if I wanted to. But no, this should not be happening. This is something to look into. It's affecting you in a non-ordinary way, and you've got to figure out why, brother. You've got to figure out why. Oh, you yelped. Awesome. California. I've never been there. I was close I've gotten to California was National Training Center. It's an Army base in Nevada to train to go to Iraq in 2004. National Training Center, NTC. Zachary, hey, do you ever recommend going below 100 IU/HCG if E2 is too high? No, I think no, I don't. I think you got to lower the injectable or the whatever you're using at that time to do that. And if you're still over aromatizing, you got to get to the bottom of that. You got to get to the bottom of that. Yeah, that's where thyroid hormones and blood sugar and body fat and alcohol use that stuff comes into play. It's pretty negligible otherwise, but if you're an over aromatizer, then those are the things that come into play. Not going to save you from a too high dose of test, getting those things straight, but that's the kind of thing you look at. No, you generally always want to lower the test and bring more HCG in these cases. HCG is a wonderful compound. Think about it. This system. It's your innate system for sexual function. The testicles, being functional. Decrease the test dose, Don't lower the HCG dose into oblivion. It's usually just never fruitful. Joe, doctors should use chat GPT more. They're stuck in old school ideas. A lot of them are. Yeah, you just got to find a good one. And the problem is that's not impossibly, but close to impossibly hard to find. Good doctors. I have two doctors. One is a classical MD. He is on test pellets. He's 70-something years old. His fucking total test is 2,500. He's fucking awesome. Smart guy, listens. I bounce ideas off of him. He can get me stuff if I need it. The other guy's an endocrinologist here, local to Pittsburgh. And a total fucking nerd, which is awesome. Straight nerd. Older guy. I think he's probably about pushing 70 at this point. Extreme nerd, which is good because he knows all the literature. And when I talk to him like a doctor, he's not used to that. Him and I have become friends just because of that. When I go there, we talk politics and all this shit. They're hard to find, but you can find good doctors. You can. But you'll have to hunt. Because most of them, they might be good at one thing or the other, but when it comes to this shit. Dylan, any issues taking 25 sildenafil every other night before bed to help nocturnals? No, not at all. There's a study on that, and they're doing 50 to 100 milligrams specifically for nocturnals to restore erectile quality, and it does work in the study. Yeah, it does work in the study. I'm a firm believer in PDE5 inhibitors for a variety of reasons. I think over time, in conjunction with the right hormone protocol, they can contribute to penile rehabilitation when it's been down for a long time. And then you could be on the right protocol, but the junk is just not up to par yet. Over time, though, you start restoring blood flow dynamics, arterial blood flow, blood trapping, the health of the endothelium, and then it gets better. So, I think that this is a great strategy. I think penis pumping is also very good. It's not a weird fetish thing. It is absolutely positively useful to oxygenate the tissues of the junk. Completely. Yeah, go look at that study. It's you should probably just Google something to the degree of PDE5 inhibitors, sildenafil, 50 to 100 milligrams nocturnal erections, and you'll find a whole paper on it. I think it's a great idea. Great idea. I run 5 of tadalafil every day for a variety of reasons, but I'm sure it's helping. Tommy, 120 milligrams a week, 60 every 3.5 days, total T. Yeah. So for Matt Justice, look at this, Matt. This is precisely what I suggested you do. E2 is 19 to 22. That's how you're going to get it down. Then you dial in the HCG from there or figure out where you need to go. Finally started HCG after 1.5 years. Feeling good after 3 weeks. HCG at 250 IU every day. Feeling good. Blood soon. Thoughts. Get the blood. See where you are. Yeah, because this is exactly case in point what I was saying before. You want to be in the place estrogen-wise and with your protocol where estrogen's like low. 20 is perfect. Where then you can add a little HCG and it just makes things better. Because you don't go over 30 picograms per milliliter estradiol, but like it's enough HCG to just enliven shit, give you a better sensation, better libido, a little more intra-organ sex tissue, DHT, a little more progesterone, pregnenolone, DHA, progesterone in the right balances. I think this is fucking awesome. I think that's awesome. You are feeling good. Go get those bloods. Get the blood. See where estrogen went. And then, maybe do 200 IU every other day if the estrogen's too high. And you start to have symptoms. If you don't, leave it alone. But I think this is great, man. I think this is totally great. I'm happy for you that, you brought it in and it's not fucking things over, So, again, if I'm at 20 E2, HCG only helps. But I'm at 37 E2, HCG is problematic. Still have sensation and all that, but steel rods go away. But yeah, kind of similar to your situation, Matt, if you're still here. Yeah. Yep. Take heed, brothers. Take heed, brethren. Again, boys, I'm going to hammer this home ending soon. I will again do like an official video once I'm at the point where I only have 2 slots left. That's where I know. These are booking at 5 to 7 a week. So when I'm fully booked, I will do another announcement, send some emails out to the list and let you guys know that we're yanking it. Because when it goes back to full price, it's thousands of dollars more. Thousands. Okay. It's a lot of money. It's a lot. But right now you're saving a ton of fucking money for coaching right now. LiveCortex.com. Book. We're on the fact-finding call as soon as tomorrow. Well, Monday. Then we start. It's not a 2-week waiting period. We're not sitting around, sitting on our hands. I'm a results-driven person. I am that way with myself. I am that way with clients. I am that way with business. I am that way with everything. Aggressive. Some folks might not be ready for it. We're getting shit done. Lorcan. The super chat. Thank you, brother. Do you still use Impossitin? I haven't used that in a while. Dose TTFT therapy to try to get rid of brain fog. I think it's starting TRC tune. Absolutely go TRT. Yes, definitely. You'll get a whole bunch of benefits from TRT. You just find the right dose of everything, and you'll have a different life. You will have a different fucking life. Shit's just amazing. Listen, we need testosterone. We don't necessarily need to be super physiologic, but we need healthy levels of test and DHT. We need it. We need it for everything, not just the sexual function, but assertiveness and aggression and the will to get shit done and masculinity, confidence, all the stuff that makes us men. Why we're like that versus women who are not like that generally? Test and DHT. That's why. Zachary, in regards to your recent video about dialing on a cream and HCG, you recommend start with 4 clicks a day and no HCG for 2 weeks, then get labs to find where E2 sits. Do I recommend that? I think you could do it either way. You could start there, go see where estradiol is. Do you need HCG? Most people do, so you might waste a little time, but get some data. Ultimately start at a low dose of HCG and then look at labs and then work your way up in HCG. But yeah, you could go up to 6 pumps of that, which is equivalent to 3 pumps of the higher concentration stuff. I'm at 5. 5 whole pumps of the 100 milligram per milliliter cream, 330 IU HCG every day. Fucking perfect. Just fucking perfect. And even though my bloods fluctuate throughout the day, like DHT levels, estradiol, TT, it doesn't fluctuate enough to really change anything. To really change anything. E2 is in a range now where I could afford like a 40, 50 milligram injection of enethate or cypionate once a week to get a boost on top of everything. It's a little more anabolism and stuff. It's a great place to be. It's a great place to be. It is the easiest way to dial in on TRT. Yeah, I've over the years I've had many thoughts on this, and at this stage I'm sure that the easiest way to dial in is cream and HCG. Cream and HCG. Easiest way to dial in on TRT. All right, boys, I'm going to end the stream. Great questions. Thank you guys, Matt and Easy. Matt with the big $100 super chat, brother. If you need any other help, otherwise, man, just hit me up. You know how to get a hold of me, dude. Again, boys, coaching is ending soon. This discount is going away. I can't keep it forever. So I've been thinking about booking, get on board. We're on the fact-finding call as soon as that day or the next day, and then we fucking start. Access to everything. Supercharging libido and erections. Back to the youthful state. That's what we want. That's what we want. That's what we target. Let's get it done. LiveCortex.com. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your weekend, guys. Content all week this week, so look forward to that. I'm also working on redoing the Cortex Labs website. So keep that in mind. As you see, there might be some maintenance shit going on or whatever. You can still place orders and stuff. And Ryan at livecortex.com if you need to get a hold of me. Otherwise, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Take care. Rock on. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.